with 3 to play. And he ignores the bear pit atmosphere to nail tops.
Behind the cheers and trophies, darts has a darker side. Some people became famous not just for winning, but for breaking the rules, losing their temper, and turning fans against them. These players brought drama, chaos, and controversy to the oche.
On that, they're going to have a debrief here. Lewis has sent Price packing from...
Stay tuned as we reveal the top 10 villains in dart history. At number 10 we have Peter Manley. Manley, nicknamed One Dart, has played in PDC, Professional Darts Corporation, events for several years. He has won several titles to his name. But then, why was he narrated as someone whom darts crowds love to hate? Manley was frequently at the centre of controversy with the other players. He faced years of booing from darts fans after he controversially refused to shake hands with Phil Taylor at the 2002 World Championships.
With a whitewash! 7-0! Manley wouldn't shake his hand!
Also, he was accused of gamesmanship by many other players, including Dennis Smith and Adrian Lewis. He murmured words to his rivals while they threw. Lewis even left the stage in outrage. Wayne Mardle, another professional dart player, described him as a cheat in his autobiography. Next on the list is a legend named Eric Bristow. He was a genius on the oche, winning 5 world titles and shaping the game with unmatched confidence and skill. The World Darts Federation ranked him as the world's #1 player a record 5 times. He was a sponsor and mentor of Phil Taylor, who later became the all-time greatest darts player. But how does a man with such greatness, 5 world titles, unmatched skill and a legacy of excellence end up wearing the mask of a villain? In November 2016, Bristow sparked public outrage over a series of tweets about the UK football sex abuse scandal, where several footballers came forward revealing they had been abused by coaches in their youth. Bristow made a series of offensive remarks that were classified as victim-blaming and insensitive by the public. Fans turned against him. That's how a man once known as the Crafty Cockney became something darker, a legend with a stain on his legacy. Although he later apologised for his careless remarks, the moment left a mark, a reminder that even legends can falter in the eyes of those who once adored them. Gerwyn Price brings the heat to every match. His loud celebrations, intense stare-downs and fiery attitude make him a magnet for controversy. He won the World Championship in 2021. He always stirs things up at the oche and roars at the crowd. He wasn't a crowd favourite as he was booed by the fans constantly. In the 2022 World Championships, he even put on ear defenders to block the crowd's noise. He also crossed the line at the Grand Slam of Darts 2018, taunting his opponent Gary Anderson. His aggressive celebrations and confrontations led him to a record fine and a 3-month suspension. That was a clear message from sport's governing body. Passion is powerful, but it must be controlled. Adrian Lewis is a 2-time world champion, but not without his moments. He's had heated arguments, thrown accusations, and let his temper take centre stage. He could beat you and blast you all in the same match. In April 2008, he went into a heated argument with Kevin Painter, which resulted in a fine and suspension. He was banned for 6 months as a result. In the 2012 World Championship, Lewis made highlights, not with his darts, but with his words. He complained about a draft on stage, blaming it for his poor throws. The moment felt like an excuse to many, and fans didn't hold back. Booed, criticised and suspected, yet somehow he still walked away as world champion. But it's not the end of his ill-tempered incidents. In another encounter, he stunned the audience by a fierce clash with Jose Justicia. He was fined and suspended by the PDC for his ludicrous behaviour. Later he apologised, but the moment became another chapter in the story of his tormented brilliance. Paul Nicholson didn't just accept the villain role, he created it. From dark shades to bold taunts, he made fans boo on purpose. With dark sunglasses, ice-cold stares and a swagger that screamed trouble, he stepped on the oche like he owned it. He taunted, he roared, and he soaked in the booze like fuel. He wasn't just playing darts, he was playing the crowd. His nickname, The Acid, and the use of the song clubfoot as his walk-on music gave him an unusual and theatrical presence, adding to his perceived villainy. But in my opinion, the moment Nicholson truly became a villain was when he called out Phil Taylor with no fear and less respect. He not only wanted to beat Taylor, but also wanted to embarrass him. Fans were furious, and the boos rained down. From that moment on, Nicholson wasn't just a player, he was the villain darts didn't know it needed. Next on the list we have Kevin Painter, who was a former World Championship runner-up and had a reputation for provoking and instigating players. His fierce competitiveness and commanding stage presence have led him to occasionally being viewed as a villain. There have been occasional altercations and problems on stage because of his reputation as a vocal performer and a fierce competitor. Despite playing lawfully, he was known as the Stig of Darts because of his occasionally controversial manner and style. In 2004, he came one dart away from dethroning Phil Taylor, and the world saw just how dangerous the artist could be. He and Adrian Lewis were disqualified from a tournament in 2008 after they almost got into a brawl on stage. In a game built on calm and precision, Kevin brought fire, and whether you loved him or hated him, you could never ignore him. Adam Smith-Neale didn't wait for greatness, he declared it. After a surprising World Masters win in 2008, he walked with a swagger, spoke like a champion and dared anyone to question him. But as the victories faded and the cacophony increased, the darts world started to turn. He is often blamed for being a villain due to his on- and off-field incidents and disciplinary actions. In the 2011 controversy, Adam jumped on Simon Whitlock's back, resulting in Whitlock suffering a broken ankle. His reputation has been a problem for some supporters, and they have demanded that he be prohibited from professional darts. Adam's rise was unexpected and his confidence indisputable. But it was his attitude, not just his darts, that left a lasting impact. Who's on the list next? James Wade, who has been 11 times champion of this spectacular game of darts. Then what's behind his villainous image? His on-stage behaviour, outspoken nature and controversial celebrations and outbursts. Once he admitted that he wanted to hurt his rival in a match. In his clash with Mervyn King in 2012, he accused him of gamesmanship and slow play. Fans murmured, was he trying to win or just trying to break his rival? In 2018, in a fierce encounter with Seigo Asida of Japan, Wade celebrated wildly, shouting and even stepping aggressively towards his opponent. For some, it seemed like provocation. For others, it crossed a line. Wade later called it passion, but critics called it bullying. One can say that he is not a villain by design, but in a battlefield, even the quietest can reveal a darker side. If darts had a Dracula, it was Ted Hankey. With a cape over his shoulders and a frown on his face, he wasn't just playing darts, he was playing the villain. He'd stare at rivals, slam his darts and blow up at fans. As a fan, if you boo him, he'd boo right back, and if you shout for his opponent, he'd stare at you in rage. He was involved in several controversies due to his ill-tempered personality. In one match, he stormed off stage, angry at the supporters' noise, calling it sabotage. But do you know what the darkest chapter in his life is? In 2022, he was accused of sexually abusing a young lady, and it was captured on a hidden camera. The villain persona that was just theatrical once now became something real and tragic. Once thriving in boos and shadows, his name now bears a hush that people would prefer to forget. Can you guess who's on the list next? Phil Taylor. We know it's a surprising name to many of you. How can a king like Phil Taylor be a darts villain? Phil Taylor didn't choose to be a villain himself, but the higher you climb, the more you become a villain in someone else's story. He is regarded as the darts king. Why not? He has 16 world titles to his name, but even kings cast shadows. Some people said that he played mind games, sluggish walks, cold looks, deliberate pauses, but others accused him of disrespect, brushing off challengers as if they didn't belong on the same stage. And then came the controversies. In 1999, he was fined and suspended for indecent assault. He also clashed with Peter Manley and Adrian Lewis in his career. He was not only playing darts, but he was playing for total dominance, and in doing so, he won matches but also made enemies. In the world of darts, the line between legend and villain is thin, and the higher you rise, the more your shadow terrifies those left behind. In the silence between throws and the roar of the crowd, villains are born not just from anger, but from greatness, pride, and the pressure to win at any cost. These darts players turned the oche into a battlefield of personalities. Who's your pick for darts' greatest villain? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more dartboard drama.